Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever, said the Mahatma. As time marches on, his ideas remain as luminary milestones, illuminating our paths, inspiring us to learn forever. Gandhi is a phenomenon studied and revered world over. The Department of Educational Policy, National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, NEPA, in association with Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Samiti, organize a national discussion meet to discuss the relevance of Gandhian educational ideas and its implications for policies and practices. The meet focused primarily on Gandhi's views towards the education system and his simple, impactful methodologies to make it an inclusive one.
It's a great occasion for NEPA. It's a great occasion in the sense that today when we talk about development, modernism, modernization, etc., there is a tendency to forget about the past and forget about this, We follow an unwritten rule through our educational system, through our social transformation mechanisms and mechanics that anything rural is bad, something urban is good, and anything foreign is excellent. This is the unwritten curriculum that is also followed in the educational system in the country. So when we talk about Mahatma Gandhi, Gandhiji, these are not the ways in which we should see the world. These are not the ways in which we should see the society. These are not the ways in which we should see the social transformation. And therefore, reinforcing his ideas and ideals become very important even in this part of in this stage. There are only very few people who have inspired more people after their physical disappearance from the earth. And if you see some of the great events and social transformations that has taken place in the world, whether it is Martin Luther King's leadership role in the US or it is Nelson Mandela, all of them publicly acknowledged not once, several times the contribution made by Mahatma Gandhi towards their understanding and the social transformation that they want to bring about. This is not a seminar just to discuss and forget it. This will be the beginning of an intellectual discourse and an academic discourse which not only confined to the faculty members of this institute but also getting reflected through the researchers and others so that it remains one of the dreams that are realized. This becomes one of the areas where we not only ideationally think about it but also faithfully try to implement some of this, so that we try to reinforce the memory of Gandhiji through our academic activities rather than talking about it alone or teaching alone. Thank you very much for that.
This is not only the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, but also of his wife Kasturba Gandhi, who was born on 11th April 1869. This is also birth year, in fact, which celebrate along with the Gandhiji, is of Lal Bahadur Shastri. This is also 125th birth year, in fact anniversary year of Vinoba Bhave, who in fact followed him. So there are many people who are now being remembered alongside, and Gandhi is certainly on the forefront. Our department, being the Department of Education Policy, since education policies is being formulated again after 33 years, has taken up this responsibility to pitch this event so that inputs from this go into that policy making and policy formulations. We have held this event earlier before, 2 years ago in 2017. in collaboration again with Gandhi Smriti and Gandhi Darshan, Rajghat, and that was in 100 year of Champaran Satyagraha. Well, friends, Gandhi is everywhere or nowhere. He is everywhere in the sense that he is in our room in the form of calendar. He is on the note that we see every day, use every day. Each things are there everywhere. But probably I don't know whether how much he is followed in day-to-day behavior, in day-to-day activities. So when we say this, why remembering Gandhi? Do we need to remember? Was there a need to remember to have? Sometime, in fact, Einstein said that there will be time when people would not believe that such man walked over this planet in flesh and blood. Gandhi's experiment with education is also experiment with his truth, a part of that. So we cannot dissociate those who are teaching Gandhi, those who are practicing Gandhi. In fact, they have to understand that what Gandhi thought about. Probably education was the core of it. When he was struggling in South Africa, doing certain, there he started that practice. That how to see that, and he opened a school, Tolstoy Farm. His colleague, Mr. Kallenbach, and others, from where he started experiment with. So one of the things that is very inspiring for Gandhi is that he was a learner, all the time a learner. Never claimed himself to be the teacher in the true sense that we use today. So Gandhi's message should be taken in that term. We have kept the term Gandhian, relevance of Gandhian ideas, not Gandhi's ideas. Why? Because Gandhi himself changed several times. He said that, don't believe me what I said some time ago, because I might contradict it. I might have contradicted it. So he was an evolving person. A policy has two aspects. One is ideological, another is normatives. So very often we focus more on normative aspect, but forget the ideological foundational aspects. So it is in this regard our department's role for having program of thinkers, not only Gandhi, but also Swami Vivekananda, also Aurobindo Ghosh, Rabindranath Tagore, or Ambedkar. Many others can be listed in that category. So we are attempting that. This is our initiative probably to go ahead with other thinkers. By teaching handicraft. Handicraft was not just a syllabus. It was a syllabus of changing the caste system in India. An occupation which was supposed to be followed has been followed by all the menial people, untouchables. He took that weaving, which was discussed, and that was supposed to be, so message was there, not just stuck by charkha or weaving, that as a profession, but idea was to change the whole social order. I really thank all of you, those who have come from their busy schedules, also because by knowing me, by knowing NIPA, by being committed to the cause of Gandhi. So we welcome you on behalf of department, also on behalf of our institute, to join us together in this momentous occasion so that it goes in the memory of our institutional programs. Thank you very much.
Mahatma Gandhi is not just a person, but a luminous and immortal thought, imbibed with theory and practice. The National Discussion Meet aims at reforming educational pedagogy and curriculums in accordance with this thought.
इबादतों की तरह मैं ये काम करता हूँ, मेरा वसूल है पहले सलाम करता हूँ. When Professor A.K. Singh informed me about this important event being organized by NIPA, I was really thrilled to find that NIPA is remembering Gandhi by putting a theme which really deserves all commendation from all sections. Really, NIPA is an institution wedded to designing formulating policies which the government has to follow. And it has been doing it behind the scene. And my thesis has been that any activity, any decision at the government level must have the force of evidence from whatever the academicians have said or have to say from the strength of their experience. And let me begin by saying that when Gandhi visited Shantiniketan, and after that a phrase became very popular: we are what we are not, and we are not what we are. This was literally put by Gurudev, but was adopted by Gandhi in so many ways by the experiments that he conducted. So, in venturing to revisit the present system of education that we have now, whereas a large number of perspectives may be helpful, the Gandhian way is still, in my reckoning, the most promising and germane. It hardly needs stressing that the teacher-pupil relationship, the learning available in the children's local environment, and an effective use of media where they exist can, in conjunction, immensely contribute to the personal, intellectual, and the spiritual development of each pupil. The combination of the 3 R's conventional teaching and out-of-school approaches should enable children to experience the 3 dimensions of education assented to by Gandhi. Then these are the ethical, moral, and cultural dimension, the scientific, technological, and craft-grounded dimension, and the economic, Sarvodaya, and social organization dimension based on love and cooperation as the integral and overarching principle of life. Gandhi, let us first look at how Gandhi defines education. He asserts, by education, I have taken from Harijan, by education I mean an all-round drawing out of the best in child and man, body, mind, and spirit. I hold that true education of the intellect can only come through a proper exercise and training of the bodily organs, that, for example, hands, feet, eyes, ears, nose, etc. In other words, an intelligent use of the bodily organs in a child provides the best and quickest way of developing his intellect. But unless the development of mind and body goes hand in hand with a corresponding awakening of the soul, the former alone would prove to be a poor, lopsided affair. Gandhi, like Dewey, perceives the value of learning by doing, and therefore recommends that education should begin with the learning of some crafts. By actually doing manual work while learning, the individual will develop interest in his work and will be able to give out his best. This is the kernel of basic education. In it is a focus on pragmatically examining the practical use of information and knowledge, and a relationship between what one learns and what he has to do. Therefore, friends, I am very delighted to share with you some of my emotions and some of my ideas from the various sessions that we will be organizing here. I must compliment NIPA for having taken the lead, not only to produce a document, but also to give a kind of guideline to the policy-making bodies to really bring out those ideas which Gandhi, मैं कहना चाहूँगा, Gandhi was an ordinary person and he rose to become extraordinary. Every one of us who is ordinary can become extraordinary.
Gandhi is perhaps one of the most often disseminated figures in the Indian curriculums of schools and official communications. Mahatma Gandhi's idea of education as a foundation for life and his efforts for Bunyadi Shiksha are well known.
How Gandhian ideas and principles could be integrated in classroom management techniques and strategies, how we introduce non-violent conflict resolution methods, and in resolving conflicts between students and students, students and teachers, and between the teachers and the school administration. So it was felt that it has to be an all-pervasive, encompassing thing when we are talking of an educational system, educational, whether it is school, colleges or universities, whatever. What he says, Mahatma Gandhi, purity of personal life is the one indispensable condition for building a sound education. And my meetings with thousands of students and the correspondence which I continuously have with students, in which they pour out their innermost feelings and take me into their confidence, show me clearly that there is much left to be desired. Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Samiti, the National Memorial of Mahatma Gandhi, one of the major focus area has been promoting Gandhian non-violent communication in these amongst the stakeholders. So when we are talking of Gandhian educational idea, it has to be all pervasive, and how we try to reach out to different sections, whether the judiciary, whether the medical profession, different aspects, and how some of these ideas could be integrated. When we are training police in the police training academies, most like we have trained police in the Assam police, then Delhi police we have been doing, then Himachal police, Jammu and Kashmir police. Again, we focus on how we can promote the Gandhian non-violent communication and Gandhian approach to conflict resolution. So most of our efforts of at Gandhi Smriti has been we are trying to promote practical implementation, practical ideas on how it can be taken to the different stakeholders in their training, in their curriculum, in their whole system. So in that text, also when we were talking of promoting the Gandhian ideas in the educational system, what has been that what we realized there in the Arunachal program was that most of the time when we are talking of a classroom situation, it's more of a hegemonic relationship between the teacher and the student, and there are many times retributive practices that are promoted. So when we are talking about integrating the Gandhian ideas, how we can promote restorative practices, how we can promote reformative practices, how we can go away from the zero tolerance discipline to promote positive atmosphere in the classroom and the schools, and how we can make the schools site where children and the teachers and the administrators have what we say the 5 pillars of Gandhian non-violence, mutual respect, understanding, acceptance, appreciation and compassion. How some of these ideas could be integrated amongst all the whole system of the educational institution.
Gandhi's own life has been a continuous experiment that inspires us to experiment constantly too. He had left no part of his life untouched by such ventures, be it food, sleep, God, or satyagraha. Gandhi's life was a seeking of the ultimate truth.
Truth, Jiddu Krishnamurti said at the finest moment of his self-realization, is a pathless land. No sect, no dogma, no ism can take us closer to the truth. It's a pathless land. And that's why I have no hesitation in saying that I am not a Gandhian, the way I am neither a Marxist nor an Ambedkarite. As a teacher, and I believe teaching is the ultimate form of studentship, I keep my windows open. I engage with a spectrum of thinkers, from Marx to Ambedkar to Gandhi to Tolstoy to Dostoevsky, and I keep evolving and growing. And possibly I have never arrived, and I would never arrive, but I believe that the journey itself has its great beauty and significance. But what a world I live in today. And in a world of this kind, where a mix of totalitarian politics, culture of narcissism, and the hyper-masculine nationalist aggression seem to have invaded our consciousness and colonized our life world, how do I look at Gandhi walking through Noakhali at the time of lynching and at the time of forcing people to chant Joy Siram? And I also began to think of Tagore, that where the mind is held high without fear, I began to think that at a moment when totalitarianism and the militarization have made any voice of dissent almost impossible, castigating it as anti-national. At that moment, the psychology of fear that has entered our consciousness, what does it mean to rediscover Tagore and to read that poem again and again, where the mind is without fear? I believe, as someone engaged in the field of learning, teaching and education, that immediately come to my mind with my engagement with Gandhi. The first, as I would argue, that if critical pedagogy, if critical learning demands a mindset that is willing to experiment with ideas, that is willing to experiment with truth, and that is continually evolving, failing, rising, learning, growing, rather than being fixated. I draw certain inspiration from Gandhi's experimentations, because in that I see the spirit of critical pedagogy, that someone continually experimenting, rising, failing, making blunders and the mistakes, changing himself and learning and unlearning.
Gandhi's biggest gift to education in India is his moral compass and compassion, his fight against injustice and oppression. He led the largest peaceful political protest in the history of humanity and led to the global recognition of India's spiritual strength. It is in trying to keep up with these ideals of the Mahatma that this session was conceived. Panelists discussed critical questions such as the relevance of Gandhi in a neoliberal world, a consumeristic economy, and a globalized environment. Some of the conclusions were enlightening.
Gandhi kahan hai in सब? I often feel it's very difficult to summarize Gandhi and make a statement. Gandhi was this. Gandhi was ever evolving, and as we often say, if Gandhi was alive today, what would he have said or done on this issue? Nobody can perhaps predict, except if you, and to my understanding, if we look at Gandhi in context. गांधी का सिंगल फोकस था कि हम आजाद हैं। हम जब तक आजादी नहीं पाएंगे तब तक कुछ भी नहीं बदलेगा, और जितना भी प्रयास है, चाहे वो शिक्षा है, हेल्थ है, जो भी है, महिलाओं का विषय पिछले सेशन में चर्चा हो रही थी, ये सब एक ही ऑब्जेक्टिव, एक ही विजन से था कि हमको आजादी मिलनी चाहिए। तो ये कहना मुश्किल है कि गांधी ने जो शिक्षा पर कहा वो आज भी वैसे ही लिया जाए, नहीं, उनको इंटरप्रेट करने की आवश्यकता होती है। बुनियादी शिक्षा पर बहुत जोर दिए। क्यों जोर दिए? ताकि सब लोग जुड़े। आज भी हम नहीं पहुंच पाए, 2 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोग विद्यालय से बाहर हैं। We have about 2 crore children out of school. Why? तो गांधी का रेलेवेंस हमको इस तरह से देखना होगा कि हम आज जो कर रहे हैं, अगर गांधी होते तो इस विषय पर उनका क्या होता। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि पहली बात तो ये कि गांधी होते तो केवल सर्व शिक्षा अभियान के माध्यम से विद्यार्थियों को, बच्चों को विद्यालय में नहीं, एक भारत परक शिक्षा दी जाती, ताकि हम दोबारे गुलाम न हो। गांधी के लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट वही था, और गांधी की पाठशाला ही समाज थी। इसीलिए तो पूरे देश में घूमे थे। अभी चर्चा होती कि मोतिहारी गए वो, और मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, आप सब ये जानते होंगे। उन्होंने कहा कि महिलाओं का कपड़ा बड़ा गंदा है, तो माँ से कहा कि इनको कपड़ा इनको साफ करना आए। तो बात नहीं, तो बड़े देर तक लौटी नहीं। तो बापू ने पूछा कि क्या इतना देर क्यों लगा? तो माँ ने बताया है कि उनके पास एक ही साड़ी है, जितने देर धो करके वो सूखता है उतने देर निर्वस्त्र पर बैठती है कि सूखेगा तब पहुँचे। और वहीं गांधी ने ये कहा कि मेरा कोई अधिकार नहीं है कि मैं एक से ज़्यादा वस्त्र पहनूं। अगर इस देश के ये स्थिति है कि किसी के पास एक से ज़्यादा नहीं है, तो मुझे एक से ज़्यादा वस्त्र पहनने का कोई नैतिक अधिकार नहीं। मुझे लगता है कि पूरी चीज को समराइज करता है गांधी का ये दोनों स्टेटमेंट और ये प्रैक्टिस। गांधी उस बात कभी दूसरा वस्त्र धारण ही नहीं किया, एक ही वस्त्र धारण। अगर इस देश में कोई भी बच्चा विद्यालय से बाहर है या उसके जीवन को सुधारने के लिए गुणात्मक शिक्षा नहीं है, तो कोई मतलब नहीं है हमारे ये बड़े विद्यालयों का। हमारे ऐसा पॉलिसी होना चाहिए कि ये सब विद्यार्थी, जितने भारतीय विद्यार्थी हैं, वो सब विद्यालय में होने चाहिए।
Now may I request Professor Gopal Krishna Thakur to make his presentation.
गांधी जी ने एक बार गांधीज्म के बारे में ये विचार रखा, अंग्रेजी में ये बात आपके सामने है। उनका कहना था कि गांधीज्म जैसी कोई चीज नहीं है, और मैं चाहता भी नहीं हूं कि मेरी जिंदगी के बाद एक ऐसी विचारधारा के नाम से एक सेक्ट बने। दो सेक्ट शुड बी देयर टू फॉलो मी, टू रिमेंबर मी। और वो विचारधारा ऐसी नहीं है कि कोई अनोखी चीज है जिस पर कि मैंने कोई अनोखा काम किया है। ट्रुथ और नॉन वायलेंस जिसको मैंने अपनी जिंदगी में जिया है, वो इतना पुराना है जैसे पहाड़, लाखों वर्ष पुरानी विचारधाराएं हैं, संकल्पनाएं हैं, जिसकी कोई ऐसा गांधीज्म जैसी चीज कोई he did not approve, he did not ever endorse। पहले से ही ध्यान में ये बात आ रही है कि गांधीज्म को हम एजुकेशनल आइडियाज में जब पढ़ते हैं, सुनते हैं, समझने की चेष्टा करते हैं। गांधी पर जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ, मैं वर्धा से आता हूँ, तो वहाँ गांधी जी भी रहे हैं और विनोबा भावे भी रहे हैं, जो उनके आध्यात्मिक पुत्र कहलाते थे। और इन दोनों महापुरुषों ने अपनी जिंदगी में कुछ ऐसा किया जो कि हम आम जीवन में शायद यकीन नहीं करेंगे अगले 150-200 साल के बाद कि कोई ऐसा कर भी सकता है। आज के ज़माने में एक टीचर से उसकी क्लास में बैठे हुए 50 बच्चे तक जब सहमत नहीं होते हैं, तो गांधी जैसा व्यक्ति एक आता है और उसके पास में कुछ नहीं है, और संसाधन विहीन होकर के भी, भौतिक संसाधन से विहीन होकर के भी वह व्यक्ति पूरे देश को अपने विचार से सहमत करता है, और उसके लिए, उसके नाम पर गोली खाने के तक के लिए लोग तैयार हो जाते हैं। लड़ते नहीं हैं कि तुम मार दो, हम नहीं खड़ग उठाएंगे, हम नहीं हिंसा करेंगे, हमें बेशक मार दो, लेकिन हम सत्य के लिए सदैव अपनी आवाज उठाते रहे।
गांधी जी has now become something like what रामायण used to be। रामायण को खोलते थे, कोई परेशानी होता, रामायण को खोलो, उत्तर मिलेगा, है ना। उस तरह से गूगल में आपको प्रॉब्लम है तो गांधी जी का टैलिस्मैन है, तो वो एक पर्टिकुलर आइडेंटिफिकेशन हो रहा है, which I think is very interesting in how pedagogy, is developing around the idea of Gandhi। What is it that you want Gandhiji to be? More than the Mahatma, definitely. More than just the father of the nation, more than what he's saying. He goes beyond what Gandhiji stood for.
The first thing that I would like you to remember is that Gandhiji was born in 1869 in the far western corner of this subcontinent. 1869 is not significant because Gandhiji was born in that particular year. It is also significant because it symbolized the midpoint of India's great renaissance, which had started with Raja Ram Mohan Roy in the early years of the 19th century. And from the midpoint onwards, if you look at the trajectory of Gandhiji's life, then you would know how this Renaissance movement continued thereafter and culminated in the freedom of the country. That's why, from the perspective of a student of history, I would like you also to appreciate the fact that Gandhiji was truly the bridge between India's tradition and India's modernity. So this is where perhaps we would find the essence of Gandhiji's experiments with his own life. This is very important from our time, from our perspective, present day perspective.
No one had rejected the colonial education as sharply and as completely as Gandhi, nor did anyone else put forward an alternative as radical as the one he proposed. A simple spinning yarn was turned into an instrument of liberation from British domination. It also emerged as a tool against discrimination based on division of labor in India. Gandhi felt that colonial education had enslaved Indians and created a sense of inferiority in the minds of Indians. It made them see Western civilization as superior and destroyed the pride they had in their own culture.
गांधी जी ने हैंड हार्ट हेड की बात कही। जब तक ये तीनों का समन्वय नहीं होगा तब तक जो आज की शिक्षा का नहीं तो परिणाम है वही होगा। स्वतंत्र भारत की शिक्षा से दो ही बात होती है, एक नौकर होता है, दूसरा बेकार होता है, नौकर नहीं होता है। हर व्यक्ति नौकर बनना चाहता है, चाहे ये बने, चाहे इंजीनियर बने, मैनेजमेंट ग्रेजुएट हो, सीए हो, कोई भी अधिक बने। तो ये आधारभूत चिंतन है शिक्षा। 10 भाषाएं बच्चे सीखे, उसमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं कर सकती किसी की भी। गांधी जी के जीवन पर चलने वाले ऐसे कुछ शिष्य जिसको नाम उदाहरण दे सकते हैं, इसमें आचार्य विनोबा भावे थे। कितनी भाषा जानते थे विनोबा जी? लेकिन उस समय में कथन था कि दुनिया की हर भाषा का मैं सम्मान करता हूँ, लेकिन मेरे देश में हिंदी अपमानित हो ये मैं शामिल। तो ये जो आधारभूत बात है वो आज भी इतनी सत्य है। दुनिया में कौन सा देश ऐसा है कि जो अपनी भाषा छोड़कर दूसरी भाषा में शिक्षा से लेकर, शासन से लेकर, प्रतियोगी परीक्षाओं का सारा काम करता है और देश बहुत उन्नत हो गया है। मानेसर में भारत सरकार का एक राष्ट्रीय मस्तिष्क अनुसंधान केंद्र है। वहाँ प्रोफेसर नलिन सिंह है, उनका अनुसंधान मैंने एक पत्रिका में पढ़ा। अनुसंधान क्या था? अनुसंधान ये था कि हिंदी लिखने, बोलने, पढ़ने से मस्तिष्क के दोनों हिस्से सक्रिय, समान रूप से सक्रिय होते हैं, और इंग्लिश लिखने, बोलने, पढ़ने से मस्तिष्क का एक बायां हिस्सा ही अधिक सक्रिय होता है। मैं प्रोफेसर नलिन सिंह को मिलने गया था, 50 किलोमीटर, 100 किलोमीटर, 50, 60, 70 किलोमीटर होगा हमारे यहाँ, और मैंने 40 मिनट से चर्चा हुई। उन्होंने बाकायदा एक वैज्ञानिक दृष्टि से MRI बच्चों का करते हुए वो सारा काम किया है। ऐसे अनेक शोध हुए। तो ये पूर्ण रूप से वैज्ञानिक बात। हमारे बच्चे समझदार हो जाए तो 10 भाषा सीखूंगा।
I would say that if the village perishes, India will perish too, said the Mahatma. The revival of the village is possible only when it is no more exploited by industrialization on a mass scale. Rural development, as outlined by Gandhiji, contained self-sufficiency, interdependence, and development of village industries.
After independence, हमारे पास स्कूल बढ़ गए, कॉलेज बढ़ गए, we have more engineers, more doctors, more professors, more scientists. हमारे अचीवमेंट हैं, हम इसको नकारते नहीं। उन अचीवमेंट्स के साथ, लेकिन अगर हम गांधी के वर्ल्ड व्यू को देखने की बात करते हैं, तो गांधी के जो कॉशंस थे, we have not recognized. गांधी का कॉशन था कि अगर हम इंडस्ट्रियलिज्म के साथ चलेंगे तो इंडस्ट्रियलिज्म वेस्ट को विनाश के कगार पर ले गया है, और अगर यही इंडस्ट्रियलिज्म चला, उद्योगवाद चला, तो भारत को विनाश से कोई बचा नहीं पाएगा। That note of caution we did not listen, and we continued with the modern, so-called modern industrial education, and we ignored Nai Talim Conference, and later on the discussion whether it's Zakir Hussain Committee or other committees. गांधी को जब समझने की कोशिश करते हैं तो जो पूर्व पक्ष है वो इंडियन कॉलोनियल रूल, उससे निकलने की छटपटाहट, चंपारण सत्याग्रह से लेसन और एक लोकतंत्र के प्रकट करने का तरीका जो चंपारण से निकलता है, वहां से गांधी को समझने की बात शुरू होती है। और वहीं पर पहले तो बात कर रहे होते हैं गांधी एजुकेशन के, लेकिन ही बिकेम वेरी फर्म इन चंपारण that education can be the only clue through which we can move on for liberation and emancipation of the humanity. और बुनियादी तालीम और बुनियादी विद्यालय की परिकल्पना वहाँ से शुरू करते हैं। Of course, the national education framework with Gandhi had much earlier, and then it had been coming to crystallization in 1937, 1938, and after that second commission, and after that you have so many commissions. लेटेस्ट कस्तूरी रंगन कमेटी का रिपोर्ट भी आपके पास आ गया। लेकिन एक बात जहां से हम गांधी को समझना चाहते हैं वो ये कि क्या समाज कैसा हो, what should be the society like, unless we understand that, can we think of education? If you want to have an education system, we have in back of your mind about what kind of society we are going to build up with that education system.
क्यों नहीं, गांधी ने जिन शिक्षकों से पढ़ा, जिनके लिटरेचर को गांधी ने पढ़ा और जो गांधी को सोने नहीं दिया, उनको ही थोड़ा पढ़ लिया जाए, so that कि लोगों को यह समझ में आ जाए कि गांधी के निकट पहुंचने का, उनके विचारों को विस्तार से समझने का सूत्र क्या है। तो आई स्टार्टेड रीडिंग रस्किन। I also read some of the basic writings of Tolstoy, and I also went into the details of discussion between Rajchandra Ravji Bhai Mehta and Gandhi on Hindu religion. I also studied poetry. So until and unless we have underpinning into the ideas of these great Gokhale in politics, Ravji Bhai, Rajchandra Mehta in religion, Ruskin in political economy and political philosophy, and Tolstoy in its experimentation. So the basic thing is that we should first of all know what is Gandhian in Gandhian thought. What is Gandhian in Gandhian thought? The Gandhian in Gandhian thought is experimentation part of Gandhi.
And I wanted to say to you this, that this year is special, not because it is the 150th year of Gandhi. This year is special because last Friday something marvelous happened. Do you know what it is? Around 7.6 million people have struck their work and schools and said this is not the education that is going to prepare us for the future. We need a different kind of future and we are going to march for our future. If you can follow Fridays for Future hashtag on your social media accounts or on the internet, you will know that right now world is in a very interesting phase and Gandhian ideas are seeing a revival in very many forms. In degrowth, in circular economy, in self-sufficient communities. People are saying, like Sangharsh and Nirman, this is the Sangharsh that we have to do for a different future. And what is the Nirman? Gandhi has typified for us.
Gandhi believed education is that which liberates. His idea of basic education was, therefore, an embodiment of his perception of an ideal society consisting of small, self-reliant and cooperative communities. Gandhi's educational ideas of Nai Taaleem established knowledge and work as non-dual entities. Nai Taaleem was primarily initiated for mass education to support basic living and a holistic development of the body, mind and spirit. Government of India's recent focus on integrating skills in school education is an acknowledgement of this gem of an idea.
When we are working on the West, particular India, we got a lot of requirement from household societies for disposal of bio-waste. There are around 5 students work in last 3 years, and we have got a different products available right from household to society to municipal corporation level, and these students are either pursuing their higher studies, working as a social entrepreneurs on their prototype, or working with us to guide further students. So what we offer, we have a design innovation center with Savitribai Phule University Pune at our center. We have Fab Lab with MIT Boston. This is just a tool set and kind of programs. But what we are hoping to get out of this is we are asking college students to come to us, stay on the campus for 1 month to 12 months. We offer them Skill India Mission certification, and it's completely voluntary. If they don't want to have all that syllabus, submissions and all that requirements, they are free to learn. It's not compulsory to register for any academic program, but it's provided. We have linkages with industry and social institutes, NGOs, and what we are trying to do is we are trying to connect dot between knowledge, skill, creativity, social need, entrepreneurship development. And what we have learned from last 4 or 5 years is that Nayi Talim has very well thought and well established core principle of empathy and creativity, which machine cannot replace. But machine can be used as a tool to inspire our youth and inspire social needs. So we can go to our youth, we can ask them, look, these are the tools available, and this is the methodology, and this is the freedoms you have to learn. You can use all these things as a tool, and if you use these tools, then you can challenge yourself and you can do anything possible. So nothing is impossible. What we learn extra out of this is we need to also emphasize on nothing is easy. So we have to tell our students again and again, nothing is impossible, nothing is easy, and creativity and empathy is need to be built to bring back a kind of hands-on learning and confidence in it.
Mahatma emphasized that women must realize their full status and play their parts as equal of men. He said, educating one girl means educating an entire household.
The Gandhian model of feminism. As you know, Gandhi addresses individual for all the changes. व्यक्ति में ही सारे समाधान निहित हैं, और इसलिए मैं यहाँ से बात शुरू करना चाहती हूँ कि गांधी एक नई स्त्री का सृजन करते हैं. Gandhi worked on as a social reformer, and for women education. The tremendous contribution of Gandhi for bringing women into public sphere, public space, and the whole theory of his political empowerment. You know, when women came into forefront, when women came into freedom struggle, the freedom struggle really became mass movement. तो मुझे वो समय याद आता है जब रंग बिरंगी घूंघट में रहती हुई स्त्रियां गांधी के आह्वान पर गोद में दूध पिलाते बच्चों को लेकर जब सड़क पर उतरी होंगी. शायद वही वक्त आया होगा जब ब्रिटिश उपनिवेशवाद को अपने घुटने टिकाने होंगे. और गांधी एक ऐसी स्त्री की कल्पना करते हैं. गांधी की स्त्री वो है जिसमें करुणा है पर दृढ़ता भी है, जिसमें प्रेम है, जिसमें सद्भाव है, समर्पण है, दया है, करुणा है, सेवा भाव है, पर उसमें साहस भी है. तो साहस, दृढ़ता और करुणा की जो प्रतीक ये स्त्री है, एक बहुत शक्तिशाली स्त्री. गांधी creates a woman as powerful as Kali and Durga, as powerful as God, Gandhi says.
A question that often plagues the modern society is the definition and the indications of a good education system. Education needs to be understood in a global context today, beyond skill and information. Gandhiji's constant endeavor to ascertain the importance of morality and character building through education is a pervasive thought for society today. In essence, education is something that takes out of the compactness of I to the possibility of us. This is what the Mahatma propagated as an ideal of education.
In fact, when we are talking about the educational system, whether the school education or the higher education, it is basically, it is still firmly framed in the institutional power dynamics. When we talk to the teachers and the students, it's mostly like a hegemonic relationship between the teacher and the student, the teacher teaching and the students listening, like that. And also, most of the time, the students may hardly have any little autonomy in their educational journeys, whether pressure from the parents or the teachers, and also there will be little space for educational autonomy in their educational journey. So in that context, and also if you see the present situation, there is so much of conflict within the schools or the educational institutional settings, whether between the management and the teachers, between students and teachers. There is so much of stress, so much of conflict over there. And many times, as we have seen in the newspapers, in the media recently, students hitting out to their teachers. In fact, last year I remember one student killed the school principal, just because he was not allowed to give the examination. So in such a situation, what is the way out? So in fact, to make our educational settings, which are settings of the dialogues, non-violent resolution of conflicts, and enhancement of interpersonal literacy, mutual respect and cooperation between student, teachers and administrators, we should introduce the non-violent communication. In fact, the whole idea of non-violent communication comes from those 5 pillars of Gandhian non-violence: respect, understanding, acceptance, appreciation and compassion. And we find a beautiful book by Arun Gandhi, The Gift of Anger, where he discusses this whole idea of Gandhian pillars of non-violence and also how the Gandhian prescription to anger management. So the whole idea of non-violent communication, when we are talking of pillars and foundation, it is these 5 pillars of Gandhian non-violence. So the first element is complete lack of violence in the way we communicate with others, both verbal and non-verbal, use of appropriate and positive language. Also important is understanding of ourself and self-awareness. Because many times when we conduct this workshop, first thing I ask you, when was the last time you met yourself? And most of the people say that they have not met themselves for a long time. Because we are all engrossed with our smartphones and other things. So it is basically when we are talking of empathy, compassion, gratitude, appreciation, those 5 pillars of Gandhian non-violence, it helps in transforming a challenging situation. And it helps in bringing a situation where we can have dialogues and win-win situation to resolution of conflicts. Then, in fact, we do very interesting exercises with teachers, like B.Ed teachers and all, on this kind of, we give them case studies and situations on how they will handle a particular crisis situation in the classroom using these techniques. Then, when we use non-violent communication, it promotes restorative practices instead of retributive practices in the classroom management systems, ecosystems. In fact, restorative practices can help teachers to assist in the development of fundamental skills to address challenges and concerns of their lives. Also, when we are talking of mutual mutual respect and understanding, it helps in transforming the relationship between the teachers and the students beyond the classroom. It's not just say Javed is teaching in the classroom and we are all students, just our relationship ends when the school bell rings. The relationship is an empathetic relationship beyond the classroom situation when we are integrating non-violent communication.
Theory and practice work in conjunction with one another, giving impetus to our value system, which in turn guides our decisions. Education has the ability to form the core ideals and beliefs of a human being, laying the foundation for his contribution to the community and the country throughout life. The ideas of Gandhi on education remain constantly relevant in educational policy making and planning. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony, and he insisted on the integration of this idea in the education of a child. where these three aspects are least at odds with each other.
Gandhi's focus was primarily on children. In the rural masses, he thought that's where India lives. And that's who we need to educate. And his idea was not adult education, but basic education. Basic education for the children of the poor and rural masses. He emphasized spiritual education, opposed secular education, but he did not oppose religion, teaching of religion. He thought that religion was very important for people because he always felt the absence of spiritual training in his own education. And he felt that they needed spiritual, but in his schools in South Africa, they all celebrated, the school celebrated all the festivals. And each student was allowed to do his or her religion and learn about it. Gandhi proposed the 3 H's: heart, character, which meant character or moral values, and hand, which was the practical skills, and head. Heart, hand, and head, the mind. The cognitive, the affective, and the emotional. For him were 3 important domains: the cognitive domain, the affective domain, and the emotional domain. And the focal point for Gandhi was the learning of crafts, which would make students independent because he thought they would sell the craft and they would develop creativity. Creatively, they would create crafts, and that would mean using their intellect in many ways.
These are our Peace Corps volunteers from Kargil, basically from the Dras sub-region. Dras is the second coldest place in the world, so the idea is to reach out to the unreached through this initiative. The prevalent form of conflict and Cold War-like situation in places near the line of control between India and Pakistan has left the civilians with severe physical and psychological trauma from which they may never fully recover, and children are one of the worst sufferers. As we know, the Indo-Pak conflict continues to be one of the major unresolved conflict in the Indian subcontinent. The dispute exists between the 2 countries since the partition of 1947, and since then the districts along the line of control and its inhabitants have been at the root of constant tension between India and its neighbor Pakistan. The conflict had caused a great disruption in overall development of children and youth in the region. Because of the situation, many tend to become very aggressive while being part of this conflict zone. In such a situation, we realize it is important to promote non-violence and peace orientation amongst the children. This will not only help them to think and reflect on non-violence and peace approaches, but it is likely that they start imbibing and practicing non-violence in their daily lives. Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent theory of communication, which talks of non-violent speech and action, maintenance of relationships, and enrichment of personhood, openness, and flexibility, is the central to a Happy School project.
Gandhi is as relevant today as he has always been. Gandhi's critical ideas of skill enhancement through education as well as community participation find strong reflection in the country's new educational policy. The Government of India has brought out this new national education policy to meet the changing dynamics of the population's requirement with regards to quality education, innovation, and research, aiming to make India a knowledge superpower by equipping its students with the necessary skills and knowledge, with a special focus on underrepresented groups. This discussion meet served as a platform to elaborately discuss the integration of Gandhian ideals in the policy and its implications for implementation.
And it is kind of when everybody is trying to explore Gandhi in their own ways, we are also trying to do in our own ways. All the thinkers are trying to their own ways. All the countrymen, those who are attached with the Gandhi, who gave freedom with a kind of tool that people are still trying to see that can we use this tool to do any kind of transformation in this modern world world, where things are understood mainly in terms of threats, in terms of war, in terms of conflict, in terms of fear. So in that kind of situation, here is a person who comes with a message, and that light is still burning in the hearts of all the Indians in the country. And that is looking for some kind of insights into the very process of it. Our Department of Education Policy, since we are dealing with education policy, we have a mandate. We have a mandate to take the education policy to that level. Policies are not for just 1 year or 2 years. It takes 22 or 3 decades to have a policy. This policy that we are going to have is coming after 33 years. So this is a very important occasion for this department, for this university, and for this country to have this whole Gandhi discussion meet on this theme after 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. This is not only the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, but also Kasturba Gandhi, who was born for 11th April. Also 125th year of Vinoba Bhave. So we have all those things. Sessions were planned accordingly, and there have been 33 presentations in the whole discussion. All the papers have been given, and there some are in the process of being revision, but the inputs have been excellent in terms of both in terms of philosophy, principles, ideas, practices, current and emerging trends which are going on in the country. So that we have tried to do. The last session that we had was on education and peace. So with that note, I think I would not like to take much time at this stage. So we feel that it's very well poised for a valedictory session where inputs from these experts will further incentivize and further motivate us to take this agenda further in this.
Gandhi's ideas have the ability to imbibe life with meaning and purpose, overcome all obstacles, and give peace to the soul. The media has in its own ways attempted to portray these aspects of the Mahatma time and again, giving us the impetus to stand for truth.
The question is that if Gandhi and his ideas have come to be valued so much in our society, can we say that he and his ideas have become part of our lifestyle and education? That is the question that comes to my mind. If 70 years we are venerating his ideas, it should have become part of us. Has it become? That's the question that is before me. That is the search. The searching for Gandhi, for me, is an exploration. It's what I would call, it's a public reading of Gandhi. Gandhi, whom I call an open book. And public reading of Gandhi, the book. And that is where I think we need to really, and then only we will be able to search. I'll come to that, why I am saying this. It's an attempt, my lecture is an attempt to understand Gandhian ideas and ideals by juxtaposing events and practices of Gandhi's life with our own lifestyle and practices in the contemporary world. That's what I had to do. Mahatma Gandhi was a complex personality, is indeed an understatement. While his personality was complex, Gandhi's life was an open book. Gandhi had no hesitation in narrating his life's journey in public, including admission of his mistakes and dilemmas. He did not consider that as a sign of weakness and reducing his esteem. Rather, it was for him an act of personal, spiritual upliftment when he confessed. Distinction in his life, distinction between political space and the personal space ceased to exist in his life. For him, personal, was professional, as well as political. Work and life distinction had ceased. Work, learning, and life were one and the same in his life. He exchanged his ideas over time and did not repent. Rather, he wrote in Harijan in 1933, I would read, I would like to say to the diligent reader of my writings and to others who are interested in them that I am not at all concerned with appearing to be consistent. In my search for truth, I have discarded many ideas and learnt many new things. Old as I am in age, I have no feeling that I have ceased to grow inwardly or that my growth will stop at the dissolution of my flesh. What I am concerned with is my readiness to obey the call of truth, my God, from moment to moment. And therefore, when anybody finds any inconsistency between any two writings of mine, if he has still faith in my sanity, he would do well to choose the latter of the two on the same subject. This is what he said. So it's something very, I don't know how many of us are ready to really even speak like that. That is what I call the open book. Searching Gandhi in contemporary life is not easy. This is because he did not propound any coherent school of thought, no school of philosophy. No, he wrote on everything, but no coherent philosophy of education or economics or politics in any of them. It's not like what Rabindranath Tagore would have written or what Aurobindo wrote on education. He didn't write like that. But he had profound thoughts. And it is his life that holds them. That's what I want to say.
Gandhi worked for the oppressed, saw oppression as dehumanizing, and developed radical theories of personal and social liberation. He saw education as a practice of human freedom. His core values of humanism, liberation, freedom, empowerment, social responsibility stand as guiding philosophies for generations to come.
गांधी के जीवन के बारे में डॉक्टर गोविंदा ने बहुत बातें बताई। मैं जब पढ़ता था तो केटल वाली कहानी हम सबको पहली बार सुनाई गई थी कि उन्होंने मास्टर साहब के कहने के बावजूद नकल दी। उन्होंने सामान्य बच्चे जो करते हैं उसे कई चीजें की। अपने भाई का कर्ज उठाने के लिए थोड़ी चोरी भी की। मीठ भी खाया जो नहीं खाना चाहते थे या संस्कारों में नहीं था। मगर परिवर्तन के पक्ष देखिए, जब वो चोरी वाली बात पर उनके मन में पैदा हुआ, बहुत कम उम्र थी, 11 साल हो, चिट्ठी लिखकर अपने पिता को दी कि मैंने ऐसा ऐसा किया है और ये हमारे बच्चों को जानना चाहिए। मैंने ऐसा किया है, तो क्षमा मांग। शब्द नहीं थे और लिखा है उन्होंने। पिता ने पत्र पढ़ा, उनकी आंखों से आंसू गिर रहे थे, मैं भी रो रहा था। हमारे बीच पर कोई बात नहीं हुई, मगर जीवन में परिवर्तन ऐसी है। जब वो अफ्रीका में गए थे तो मैं एक शब्द इस्तेमाल करता हूँ। अभी एक प्रधानमंत्री ने एक शब्द इस्तेमाल किया, आइंस्टीनियन चैलेंज। तो मैं समझ नहीं पाया कि क्या इसका, लेकिन फिर भी प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा है कि भविष्य के लिए तो मुझे लगा मैं भी एक इस्तेमाल करूंगा, देखा तो जाऊंगा। मैं आपको बताता हूँ, गांधी जब एडवोकेट होकर गए अफ्रीका में, तो देखिए संस्कारों का गए तो थे केस लड़ने। जब सारा समझ लिया तो उन्होंने अपने मुफ्त से कहा समझौता कर लो तुम्हारे परिवार की बात। दिस इज कालिदास है, कालिदास चैलेंज कहिए क्यों, अब उसी डाल को काटना जिस पर आप बैठे हो। जब यहाँ तो आपका चला नहीं, वकालत चली नहीं, वहां गए थे कुछ कमाते, अंदर कहीं ऐसे संस्कार थे संयुक्त परिवार के जो उनके चिंतन को प्रभावित कर चुके। और वैसा व्यक्ति ये बात कर सकता है हम मूल्यों की शिक्षा की बात करते हैं, हम स्कूल में संस्कारों की बात करते हैं। आप इसमें देखने की कोशिश करिए कि संस्कारों का प्रभाव कहाँ कहाँ कितना विस्तार पाया। मैंने जो पढ़ा है पीटर मारिट्सबर्ग की घटना, ऐसा में जिक्र किया, वहां पर बैठे बैठे गांधी ने क्या किया? उन्होंने व्यक्तिगत अपमान को, व्यक्तिगत अपमान का दायरा उसको प्रक्षेपित कर दिया, प्रोजेक्टेड ऑन द ग्लोबल स्केल। Generations have suffered because of color, creed and race. मैं अपने लिए क्यों लड़ूं? मैं सबके लिए लड़ूं। अन्य घटनाओं का भी प्रभाव पड़ा होगा, लेकिन उस दिन उस व्यक्ति का स्थिति बदल गया और ये सामान्य बात नहीं थी।
ओपनिंग सेशन में राजपूत साहब फायदा यह होता है कि आप कुछ भी कह के जा सकते हैं और बीइंग ए पब्लिक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव एनीथिंग कैन बी क्लब्ड इनटू द बास्केट ऑफ डिमांड्स कि भाई मैं तो पब्लिक को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा हूँ, बाकी आप लोग तय कर लेना, जो समझोगे समझाओगे वो मैं समझ लूंगा शिक्षा मंत्री के नाम। सबसे आसान होता है, मैंने कई जगह किया है ऐसा पर मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा था कि मैं इतनी गहन चर्चा के बाद वेलेडिक्टरी फैशन में रेलेवेंस ऑफ गांधीयन एजुकेशन ऑफ गांधी ऑन एजुकेशनल आइडियाज, गांधीयन एजुकेशनल आइडियाज पे क्या और कैसे बात रखूंगा। पर मतलब मैं सोच रहा था प्रोफेसर ए.के. सिंह का कह, ऊपर से उनके एक स्टूडेंट हमारे प्रिंसिपल साहब हैं, उनका आग्रह मैं टाल नहीं सका और मैं यहाँ हूँ। मैं ऐसा सोचता हूँ कि हम ये तो चर्चा कर ही रहे हैं कि शिक्षा में गांधी और उनके विचारों की सार्थकता, पर इसको भी मुझे लगता है दो हिस्सों में बांटना चाहिए। एक तो शिक्षा में गांधी और एक शिक्षा व्यवस्था में गांधी के विचार, जो भी कहिए गांधी के जीवन से उनके समझ, जीवन समझ या गांधी के विचार, क्योंकि शिक्षा में गांधी एक अलग दायरे पर डिस्कशन जाएगा, शायद उसके लिए मैं अयोग्य हूँ, लेकिन शिक्षा व्यवस्था में थोड़ा काम है मेरा, शिक्षा पे मेरा कोई काम है, मेरा शिक्षा व्यवस्था पे काम। उसमें गांधी को हम कैसे समझ सकते हैं, गांधी को कैसे हम इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, गांधी से हम क्या कर सकते हैं, क्या सीख सकते हैं। मैं लगभग 2015 की बात है या शायद 2016 की बात होगी, एक साल की सरकार लगभग आगे बढ़ गई। हमने अलग अलग स्कूलों में कुछ समर कैंप्स लगाए हुए थे और उसके लिए मैं भी बीच बीच में जाता हूँ स्कूलों में। शुरुआत के दौर में सरप्राइज इंस्पेक्शंस बहुत होते थे मेरे, तो मैं स्कूल में गया और वहाँ ऐसे किसी स्कूल में पहुंचा, क्लासरूम में पहुंचा, तो संयोग था मैं बच्चों से पूछता हूँ कि क्या चल रहा है, क्या पढ़ाया जा रहा है। तो बच्चों ने कहा जी सफाई पर गांधी के विचार बात, तो पाठ कोई उसका किताब का होगा, सफाई पर गांधी जी के विचार। अच्छा लगा मुझे, पर मैं जब देखा उस कमरे में तो उस कमरे का कोई कॉर्नर ऐसा नहीं था जो बहुत बुरी तरह से गंदा ना हो। तो मैं बहुत एडजेक्टिव यूज कर रहा हूँ जहाँ खिड़कियां सड़ी हुई और लकड़ी के जाले चारों तरफ, डेस्क में, कमरों की जो डेस्क थी उनमें से सिर्फ उतनी ही डेस्क साफ थी जितनी में बच्चे बैठ गए थे, उसके अलावा सब की सब धूल लटी पड़ी थी। अगर किसी डेस्क पे एक बच्चा बैठा है तो उसकी पैंट से जितनी साफ हो सकती थी उतनी साफ थी, उसके अलावा साफ नहीं थी। तो मैं सोचा कि गांधी पे सफाई पे विचार पढ़ा के हम करेंगे क्या अगर हमारी शिक्षा व्यवस्था सफाई करने को तैयार नहीं, बच्चे के सामने एक साफ सुथरा स्कूल, साफ सुथरा क्लासरूम देने को तैयार नहीं है, तो शिक्षा पे गांधी जी के विचार पढ़ा के भी कौन सा साफ हो जाएगा, कैसे बदलेगा। तो वहीं से मुझे लगा कि शिक्षा व्यवस्था में गांधी पे, गांधी चिंतन, गांधी के काम, गांधी का विचार बहुत जरूरी है और ये कई मायने में जरूरी है। गांधी हमेशा जो बात हुई प्रैक्टिकल की बात, प्रतीकों से ऊपर उठने की बात। मैं बीच बीच में
आपके नीपा में है, एनसीईआरटी का मैं जिक्र कर ही सकता हूँ। तो एनसीईआरटी किताबों को भी देखता रहता हूँ, पढ़ता रहता हूँ, पढ़ता हूँ बीच में जब भी राजनीति और सरकार और इन सबके बीच में समय मिलता है, क्या चल रहा है इसमें, है क्या और क्या नहीं। फिर वो कहाँ किस रूप में क्लासरूम में खड़े होकर डिलीवर हो रहा है। जिसने एनसीईआरटी को तैयार किया उसका मोटिव क्या था, इंटेंट क्या था, उसको चैप्टर में लाने का किसी कंटेंट को। फिर जब वो हम जैसे लोग सिस्टम में बैठे हुए लोग तय करते हैं कि ये हमारे पाठ्यक्रम में आना चाहिए और हम एनसीईआरटी किस पाठ्य पुस्तक को लगाएंगे, हमारा इंटेंट क्या है। तो क्लासरूम में जो खड़े होकर टीचर पढ़ा रहे हैं, उसको डिलीवर कर रहे हैं, उनका इंटेंट उस चैप्टर पे क्या है, इस सब में बहुत गैप है। और इस गैप की वजह से हम गांधी के सफाई के विचार सिर्फ पढ़ा के रह जा रहे हैं, सफाई बोल नहीं पा रहे। आदमी गंदगी फैला रहा है, स्कूल से निकल, स्कूल में भी और स्कूल से निकल के। हमारे साथ प्रॉब्लम क्या हो गई है कि आज हम गांधी के आइडियाज, गांधी के विजन, उस सबको भी एक प्रतीक बना के बैठे हैं। हम गांधी के सफाई के सिद्धांत भी पढ़ाएंगे, हम वोकेशनल की बात करेंगे, हम नई तालीम की भी बात करेंगे, हम सारी चीजों की बात करेंगे। हम कहेंगे गांधी जी रोजगार से जोड़ना चाहते थे शिक्षा को, वोकेशनल, फिर उससे हमारी समझ बनती है कि वोकेशनल उनके विजन में था। वोकेशनल से हम आगे बढ़ा के ले आए, स्किल पे ले आए, स्किल और वोकेशनल को क्लब किया हमने। 1930 के भारत में और 2030 के लिए तैयार की गई पीढ़ी में उसकी वर्तमान परिस्थितियों में अंतर तो होगा। गांधी ने अपना पूरा जीवन, जो आपने कहा कि मेरा जीवन ही मेरा संदेश है, मुझे लगता है इवोल्यूशन, इवॉल्व होना सबसे बड़ा संदेश आता है। और हम उस गांधी जी को इवॉल्व नहीं कर रहे, हम गांधी जी के उस चीजों को इवॉल्व नहीं कर रहे, जो शब्द वो कह गए, जो थॉट वो दे गए, वहीं के वहीं अटक के रह गए। थॉट मतलब भाव के पक्ष में नहीं, शब्दों के कह रहा हूं। गांधी जी ने कहा वोकेशनल, तो हमने कहा वोकेशनल होना चाहिए, श्रम उत्पादक होना चाहिए, श्रम उत्पादक होना चाहिए। लेकिन कैसे होना चाहिए? तो गांधी जी हथौड़ा, कील और लकड़ी और पेचकस की बात करते थे, उसके जरिए श्रम और उत्पादन की बात करते थे। तो हम अभी भी वोकेशनल और स्किल में पूरा फोकस उसी पे कर रहे हैं। हम शिक्षा में 9वीं, 10वीं, 11वीं, 12वीं, एनएसक्यूएफ, सीबीएसई सारे पाठ्यक्रमों में स्किल और वोकेशनल की बात कर रहे हैं। लेकिन इस कक्ष में बैठे हुए हम लोग, या हम जैसे तमाम लोग और तमाम लोग, हम में से कितने लोग हैं अपने बच्चे को जो वोकेशनल या स्किल दिलाना चाहते हैं? नहीं दिलाना चाहते। हकीकत हम सब अपने बच्चों को आईआईटी भेजना चाहते हैं, हम सब अपने बच्चों को सीपीएमटी भेजना चाहते हैं, और हम सब चाहते हैं कि इस देश में वोकेशनल एजुकेशन की गरिमा बढ़ेगी। कैसे बढ़ेगी? क्योंकि वोकेशनल एजुकेशन को हमने वहीं फंसा के रख दिया। कील, हथौड़ा, छेनी और लकड़ी काटने में। ओवरऑल मैं जिस ओर इशारा करना चाहता हूं कि जॉब्स क्रिएट करना, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, गांधी जी कहीं ना कहीं उस पर भी जोर देते हैं। हम एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बात तो कर रहे हैं, हम चाहते हैं कि हमारे कॉलेजेस से, स्कूल से एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप निकले, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स निकले, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली हम सेलिब्रेट कहां कर रहे हैं? ना हम वोकेशनल को सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं, ना हम एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं, ना हम सामान्य होने दिखने को सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं। हमें लगता है कि गांधी को उस एंगल से देख के शिक्षा व्यवस्था में लाना चाहिए। अगर हम शिक्षा व्यवस्था में ले आए तो शिक्षा में आने में देर नहीं। बहुत कुछ ऐसा है, हम कबीर भी पढ़ा, ऐसा नहीं है कि गांधी को लाएंगे तो हम कबीर पढ़ाना बंद कर देंगे, या गांधी को लाएंगे तो हम एटम पढ़ाना बंद कर देंगे, या पाइथागोरस पढ़ाना बंद कर देंगे, न्यूटन पढ़ाना पढ़ाएंगे। फिर शायद हमारे न्यूटन पढ़ाने के मायने बदल जाएंगे, फिर शायद हमारे कबीर पढ़ाने के मायने सार्थक हो जाएंगे, अगर हम शिक्षा व्यवस्था में गांधी को कहें। मेरा जोर यहाँ पर यही रहेगा, आपकी सारी चर्चाओं के बाद एक व्यवस्थापक होने के नाते मैं जिम्मेदारी के साथ कह रहा हूँ कि हम गांधी को अपनी व्यवस्था में लाने में थे, और विशेषकर शिक्षा व्यवस्था में लाने में थे। मैं आप रातू साहब की बात से एकदम सहमत हूँ। अगर इस देश की तरक्की का, इस देश की खुशहाली का, हमारे समाज की खुशहाली का कोई राजमार्ग कहीं से निकलता है तो शिक्षा से निकलता है, लेकिन शिक्षा की खुशहाली का राजमार्ग अगर कहीं से निकलता है तो शिक्षा व्यवस्था से निकलता है। अगर शिक्षा व्यवस्था को हम दुरुस्त नहीं करेंगे, हम शिक्षा के जरिए कुछ भी करने का सपना छोड़ दें। बहुत हद तक हम नौकरियां नौकरियां, अच्छी नौकरियां लेने वाले लोग ला सकते हैं, अच्छे पैकेज वाले लोग ला सकते हैं, वो हम सक्सेसफुली कर रहे हैं जहां हम कर पा रहे हैं। अगर हमको बदलाव करना है तो शिक्षा में नहीं, शिक्षा व्यवस्था में बदलने की बात करें, हो सकता है हमें कुछ और रास्ते दिखाई देंगे उसके। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
The two-day conference came to a close with an oath on bringing about freedom from ignorance and the ego through the application of moral reasoning by some of the eminent educationists of the country. This discussion meet, organized by NEPA, reiterated that the Gandhian ideas are not for mere theoretical discussion, but for evolution into workable policies that can be implemented at a national scale for best results.